There have been challenges. When Amul was launched in India in the mid 1950s, the Indian market was dominated by multinational brands and that had more money than Amul. The government efforts to ensure vocal to local, at least in the food industry, have been pretty obvious according to Sodhi, and also it is explained by beautifully explained by
Oh,
Mr. Das. The government, in its efforts, is trying to make sure they use and promote local produce as much as they can, as well as ban lower grade ingredients. The government could consider levying a uniform 5% GST for Ayurvedic products and medicines comprising classical proprietary and OTC products. Currently, over 80% of Ayurvedic products fall under the proprietary and OTC categories that attract a GST of 12%. For many commercial organizations, the brand is its most valuable asset. When a brand sells in the global market, irrespective of where it is produced, sold or ultimately consumed in the world, apart from royalties in technical fees, the owner of the domestic part enjoys appreciation in the valuation of his brand. This is also proven an MNC strategy. I feel this is also consistent with the PM stand of not being a part of the RCEP agreement and opting for a complete make in Indian policy. According to the International Monetary Fund, India has been one of the beneficiaries of economic globalization. After integrating with the global economy, India witnessed unprecedented prosperity. According to World Bank data, India's gross domestic product in 1960 was a mere $37 billion, which is increased to modest $27 billion by 1991, a pretty flat rate of increase. However, after integrating with the global economy in 1991, India's GDP galloped from $27 billion to $2.719 trillion by 2018, a quantum jump and very steep rate of increase that helped India pull millions of people out of poverty. This is not the suggest that GDP is the only indicator to measure prosperity or that problems such as rising income inequality in India don't matter. But an increase in country national income is critical as it provides the much needed resources to pursue social and economic development. The Indian Prime Minister delivered address to the nation on May 12, 2020, included a financial package of rupees 20 lakhs crore to revive India's stalled economy on account of COVID-19. Also, Professor Nara Reddy highlighted leadership. Simultaneously, the package intends to kick-start a process towards making India self-reliant. Besides the financial stimulus, the PM spoke about the importance of India as a hub local market and how India has the potential to take its local products global. As a part of the speech of PM emphasized the need for India to recognize the importance of local manufacturing, local markets, and local jobs. COVID-19 taught India the importance of being local. All our demands during the crisis were met locally. Now it is time to be vocal about local products and help them become global. Leading brands of the world were once local brands and they become global brands when local people started buying and using them. They branded them and then felt proud of them and started promoting them. They were the catalyst to make them global brands from local brands. The world has appreciated India's production of life-saving drugs and there should make all Indian proud. Because the COVID-19 crisis has given an impetus to local products as during the present crisis it is the local people who have fulfilled the demand saving India from crisis. The people making local products need support and it is very Indian responsibility to buy local products. A new slogan, Vocal for Local, which means to not only buy local products be vocal about promoting them proudly. PM wants Indians to make local mantra for their lives in the this government. The Prime Minister recalled the response of people who had given a call from them to buy khadi to support the handloom workers. He said that people responded well, judging by the record level of sales achieved by khadi and handloom products in a very short period of time. He felt that the support of Indian gaps for the local products created big brand out of khadi. The Prime Minister also said, for every Indian who has responded to the call for going local has increased, and he is confident that Indians will proudly buy a local product and promote them to global community. He said that he has full confidence that all Indians will do their small part of making India products a household name all across the world. I feel that if Indians adopt the local क्या लिए vocal a local के लिए vocal mantra, then many Indian products can become truly global. So let's do our part in buying and promoting local products and make India self-reliant. The mindset of Free India should be vocal for local to achieve the goal of Atmanirbhar Bharat. The mindset of Free India should be vocal for local. We should appreciate our local products. If we do not do this, then our products will not get the opportunity to do better and will not get encouraged. Today, many big companies are turning towards India. We have to move forward with the mantra to make for the world along with Make in India. Thank you, sir. This is the about my local publisher. And thank you also our director. Thank you, sir.
Good.
Thank you. Dr. Maji spoke about vocal for local. Yes, uh, it is very much apt at this juncture that we promote local industries, so that our goods which will be produced by our industry, local industries, will be qualitative one and will be accepted elsewhere as well across the globe. Before carrying out taking the next session, I received one query from Dr. Dibendu Sundar Rai. Uh, I request Dr. Reddy or Dr. Mishra to respond this query. He has asked this query that what are the steps being taken by various management associations like IMA to make self-reliant, India self-reliant?
Yeah.
It's an
The,
interesting query.
but the question
Yes.
is very interesting.
Yes.
And the aims or IMA, see, ours are academic bodies. We are more of we play advocacy role, policy advocacy role related to management education in the country. So along with that, we try to play active role in creating awareness about the Atmanirbhar Bharat or mission, whatever it is. So we are already doing it, and from the management education side, we want to promote Indian management education as the one of the important uh, area, so that Indian management is a wonderful concept, and there is a lot of scope for other countries to learn from us. So we are taking some steps in promoting the Indian ideas and concept other side. At the same time, we are also actively participating in creating awareness about the Atmanirbhar Bharat. And in fact, this program also aims is very actively associated in along with the Ganesh Institute of Management in promoting awareness. In fact, myself, Professor Maji, Professor Jitendra Mishra, we are all representing AIMS, in fact, because we are having a lot of aspects to share. Therefore, we joined you. So therefore, we are doing our best in this. Okay?
Well, Professor Subrat, if I can add, on the part of promoting Atmanirbhar Bharat from academic associations such as AIMS, you can see that the new education policy has brought in a lot of aspects which talk of self-reliant and self-relevant education, Indian relevant education. All these management associations are playing an active role, and they are taking an active part in promoting that. So as an academic institutions or as an academic associations, our role is largely in the domain of creating and an Indianized education, number one. Number two, to propagate and promote the initiatives undertaken by various institutions and associations, and also to try to connect the students and other stakeholders with such initiative. So these are the areas where all these associations are working on, and AIMS has been at the forefront to promote this very concept of Atmanirbhar Bharat. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just a minute. I am.
This is
Yes. As I want something.
Yes,
Please, Professor Jitendra Mishra has to leave. So let him speak, and then we can have the question
Okay.
answers.
Okay. Now, in fact, Dr. Mishra, he is currently the director of Jaipuria School of Business, Ghaziabad. He has more than 2 decades of experience in academics. His areas of research include economic policies, international business, higher education, consumer behavior. He has published in national and international journals, and he is a member in the executive board of AIMS, member of National Academic Advisory Council of CEGR. I am extremely happy that he has given his consent and has participated and cooperated in carrying out the session today. From Ganesh Institute of Management Studies, I am very much thankful to Dr. Mishra to have given his consent and participated as a panelist here in this webinar. He will be talking about the implementation issues connected to Atmanirbhar Bharat. Sir, please carry on.
Thank you, Professor Subrat Mishra. I am grateful to Ganesh Institute of Management for creating this platform for sharing ideas and together preparing for taking this mission of Atmanirbhar Bharat forward. So thank you very much, my fellow panelists, dear audience. We have already heard a lot, and we have experienced also what are the challenges in becoming self-reliant. So I have little to say, but quickly, as the duty is assigned, I would like to count on few points. I will take you through the context, and then I will talk about few of the challenges that we can count on, and maybe I will share with you the few ways forward, the few of the suggestions that can be useful if we try to move faster on the path of Atmanirbhar Bharat. To take you through the context, we all have already understood and heard that the premise of this Atmanirbhar Bharat to come in its new avatar was a context of pandemic, where the India has tried to revisit that the way the things are placed. Are they going to ensure the self-sufficiency, or we need to look into a different way? Do we need to have a different considerations? At the same time, we had international challenges, and the world order was moving towards a different dimension. And in this very context, the overall supply chain, which was responsible for ensuring supply of all the necessities to the world, has been questioned, and there the opportunities arise that may it be a very opportune time to position India in the central stage to guarantee that India has the ability and potential, it has the resources and talent to lead the world for a better alternative in terms of supply chain. So that was the context. It sounds very good, and it is all very appreciated. It's a proud moment for each one of us as Indian that we have got this very concept in the opportune time. But you look at the evidences. When this Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan was announced in mid of May, 20 lakh crore package was announced, and we talked that 10% of GDP is going to help us taking this whole idea forward. But if you look at the little background, already for several quarters we had downward GDP growth. It was declining, and in this context, the basic challenge was that the domestic economy was struggling at the front of demand. The demand was suppressed. It was constrained. The demand was not supporting the production. On the other hand, unemployment was increasing. And in all this, a great hope was being created in the name of Atmanirbhar Bharat. But unfortunately, the majority of the allocations were to support credit facility. And it was believed that if we make the enough liquidity available and we provide easy loan, the economy will run on a fast track. But it did not happen. We have already seen the result of the last quarter, and it was historically worst. It has a negative growth of 23.9%, which is historically low. So one evidence is that whatever was done was perhaps not adequate, or it was not in right direction. Something more was required, or something different was required to take the economy forward and make India self-reliant. If you look at other components, the MSME has a different challenge. Our banking system was perhaps at its most severe challenging level. They have their own constraints, and the consumers and investors were losing confidence in the economy. In this very premise, in this very setting, if the Bharat has to look for Atmanirbhar, it has to address these issues immediately. These are the immediate concerns that has to be addressed. And in long term, we have to look at our positioning, our critical area, our strategic directions, so that this initiative that we start now as a priority, immediate priority, could further grow and sustain and become a sustainable strategic dimensions to lead the world. In this case, if you see the basic challenge, one basic challenge that we have been seeing consistently has been the low confidence of investors. We do not have the requisite ease of doing business. We have moved a lot, we have resolved many issues, but where we were and where we are is a good move, but it is not sufficient move. We have not been able to attract the enough investment. We have not been able to start great industries that are needed for taking the country forward at this very moment, when we have got a large number of working population, a big number of youth looking for jobs. That is one very evidence that define the challenge. Challenge is to create the ease of business which delivers the result, which is not a matter of academic discussion, what is good, what is bad, which can actually bring in perceptible investment, make the industries to move on and create employment and income. That is one challenge. Second challenge, if you see, we have been struggling at the front of labor reforms. Lot of international investment has not been able to come very enthusiastically, or has been concerned and restrained because of the labor reforms. Recently, government has passed a labor reform bill and they have brought in some reforms. Let us see how well it resolve the issues and how much it can help the industries to move ahead. If you look at our concern of quality, that has always been under question. Whatever we are producing or whatever we are doing, where does it stand vis-a-vis the standard of global quality? How much of acceptability has it got across the global market? Fourth is, we still lag miserably, we still suffer miserably on the research and innovation front. So if India has to, we all have seen that if any country has to become self-reliant, the innovation is the key. Without having real innovation, without having your dominance in innovation, it's just not imaginable that any country can become self-reliant. All the countries have moved based on their innovation strength towards the self-reliance. If we talk in terms of our import dependence, that again is a question. We cannot think of completely withdrawing from all the imports because that is practically not possible. We need imports to support our exports. So when we are talking of self-reliance, we have to make it very clear that it is not restricting our connect with international trade, with the global business, and we have to be very careful and judicious in allowing and appreciating what is required to take our economy forward. We need not confuse that import is what complete and need to be restricted. For example, we don't have the technological capabilities and we cannot afford to remain incompetent in terms of our productivity and quality and technological advancement. That will never give us the age that is required to lead in this new global world order. So you will have to look for technological innovation indigenously as well as importing the technology which is required. Additionally, we need to have the land reforms which does not allow any further singur and kind of things, or we need to have the laws which does not create another host of Vodafone in terms of taxation. So the challenges are, first, the very contextual, that we need to have the priorities very well placed in terms of our law, in terms of our resource availability, in terms of our infrastructure capability, in terms of our investment in research and innovation. Plus, we need to have enough support in terms of talent and connect with the rest of the world, where the companies can be happy and they can look forward for a prospect to get into India. So we need the world as a whole to contribute to India becoming self-reliant. It is not a dream which can be fulfilled being sitting in our own silos and dreaming for it. We need the world to contribute to it, and for that we need to create the ecosystem and environment where the world feel confident and comfortable coming to India and supporting it. Number one, we are a great market, but that market itself has no significance if it doesn't have purchasing power. And we have seen that how the purchasing power has suffered. Lastly, if you see, we have opened up defense sector and we are trying to allow privatization or private participation in railways. These are some welcome move, which were the potential not being exploited. These are going to create the opportunity. But again, the question will be how much of that we can leverage by our initiative. So these were certain things that I could count on our challenges. If I have to conclude, I can say one is the immediate stimulus for increasing the demand in the economy, which creates a confidence to the people in the country and also create an opportunity for external investors. Secondly, making the ease of business much higher, because currently it is miserable, and giving confidence to the investors to participate in this whole process. The third is putting our labor reforms and land reforms in order so that there is no going back after an investment, and fourth, making innovation as a national priority and looking on it with a sense of urgency. Already government has started a lot of initiatives which are welcome, but that needs to be strengthened and sustained. So these are certain challenges that I could see, which are the bottlenecks or which are the kind of concerns if we look at the Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan going ahead and succeeding. So thank you. I would be happy to taking few questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Mishra. Within this very small short time, you elaborated the short-term and long-term requirements, necessities for the mission to be successful. You highlighted several immediate steps that need to be taken by the government to create the demand, to look after the unemployment issues, and you talked about the reforms required in research and innovations, then land and labor issues, reforms required for the government so that the investors will be attracted to the country and our industries will prosper. Thank you so much, sir. Right now, away we'll take few questions from the participants. The first question, it is meant to Dr. Das. She is Sasmita Senapati. She is a professor in Radhakrishna Institute. She has a question to Dr. Das. She says that is not a reality, a really paradoxical situation where on one side we are talking about Atmanirbhar Bharat, and on the other hand we are still depending on Chinese market. What are your views on this?
Yeah, am I audible, sir?
Yes, audible.
Yeah, addressing to this question, actually, what I feel and what will be my view is, as a matter of fact, actually, Professor Mishra, my previous, the speaker before to this, actually, he has answered to this question almost around 60-70%. He has talked about the challenges and all. And so far as specific to this question is concerned, my view is that I will not say that it is paradoxical. Rather, I will say that this is something a challenge actually for India. You see, we cannot become so self-reliant 100% so immediately. The reason being, I'm telling you two factors. One factor is that is cost, and another factor is that is our competitiveness, that is quality. And if you see the case of India and its dependency on China, this is because of these two reasons actually. The first reason, that is the price. Both the countries are the first populous country and the second populous country. And the advantage with both the countries is that the low cost of production, because both can depend on the labor intensive technology. But another fact is that if you compare the development so far as the technology and so far as the efficiency part is concerned, then China will be in an advanced situation than in comparison to India. And it has been a trend that India has been depending on China for different products. So if we relate this in the context of Atmanirbhar Bharat, that is self-reliant, this has been, be a policy which have been declared recently, and till the time the steps that are necessary to be taken or it has been decided to take off, it is not going to be taken, and the time lag is not going to be completed. We cannot think of 100%, 0% dependency on China. So my point is that it is a challenge for India actually, that how can we have less cost of production so that we can have a product which will be of less price in comparison to the Chinese product. And second thing is that that product should be of that quality in comparison to the Chinese product. So what will happen actually, by the time India is going to take the steps to reduce the cost of production and to simultaneously produce the product of that quality, then only India can become self-reliant in comparison to Chinese case actually. And second aspect is the ongoing situations. I will not support a trade war actually, to be very frank. The reason is, once there will be a trade war between India and China, immediately it will happen that the prices of many products which are being imported from China, it will go up. and ultimately the population in India, they are going to get suffer out of this. I'm telling you. It's because many of us must be now realizing also, if you go to the market and you want to purchase a product of that is Chinese, then the price has gone up like anything. The laptop which were available at a price of 30,000 rupees, now the same laptop, no, it is available at a price of around 556 or 53,000. So you just imagine, once you are going to block the product, at the border, then immediately there is a simultaneous effect on the price of that product inside the economy. So you being a rational country, actually, the country should think how to make a balance between this. And this is not so easy actually, so far as my view is concerned. This will take time, and India should keep on continuing, having the steps that can reduce the cost of production and simultaneously to produce the product which will be of the same quality. Then only this, whether you will say it is paradoxical or challenging, that can be, you can mitigate. Otherwise it cannot be, because China is you see, compare Chinese economy is around of more 5 times bigger economy than India, so far as the case of your GDP growth is concerned. Though both the countries have suffered due to this pandemic, but the fact is that people talk about the GDP growth, China is better. So it will take time
Lulu,
Okay.
keep on doing this. So it will be a continuous process, and the
ତାର ଗୋଟେ
continuous cannot
BMC ରୁ ଫୋନ ଆସିଛି, ମତେ ଖାଲି କଥା ହେଇଛି, ମତେ ସାଙ୍ଗେ ସାଙ୍ଗେ କହୁଛି ହେଲା।
Yes, sir. Over to Professor Subrat Misra ji.
Yes, thank you, Professor Das. I believe we are running short of time. If the panelists agree, can we take another 2 questions? Dr. Reddy?
Yes. Please take.
Okay. There is a query from Bhavin Solanki. She says that India's import is high than export. How it will work on becoming Atmanirbhar Bharat? India most of time face deficit or imbalance in trade.
So basically, over a period of last 70 years, we didn't plan our economy with a strategic approach. Our policy makers followed very, very short-sighted approach. Therefore, this is not the time to blame anybody. Now, over a period of time, we were most of the time, as and when the crisis comes, we try to come up to that and try to attend it, and we try to resolve it and go ahead further. Again, we ignore that part. See, consistent policy to realize our Atmanirbhar Bharat was not there earlier. Now, at least there is a government now to think beyond the power politics, and therefore, see, certain developments for the last, particularly between 1970 to 90, for about 20 years, we made our economy worst because of political disturbances, or no party was continued for a long time in one place. However, so we are forced to follow certain practices. Now, time has come to realize, earlier the better. Let us realize that this is the time to not to over depend on imports. At the same time, not to stop the imports. As Professor Das said, on one side, we need some imports. At the same time, we can improve our export position. The second important thing is, China, over a period of 45 to 50 years, they build up their infrastructure to produce the goods and services at a throwaway prices. That we didn't focus on that. Now time has come when the COVID has thrown the economy out of gear. Now this is the time to understand not only the government that they should take some steps. Ultimately, it is the entrepreneurs, business people and investors. They all have to take the concept much to percolate to the lower levels, so that we can also produce the goods and services on a mass scale where the cost of production will come down significantly. But it takes some time. So now, our virtually we started our economy in the recent past to build, keeping the peculiar situations of the international aspect. So therefore, it takes some time. Imbalances are there. We recognized that, but overnight we cannot build the system. Now it takes another 5 to 10 years to reach a reasonably acceptable level, because our system, even government, since it is a democratic system, you cannot take all steps as you like, because we have to give maximum importance to the all segments of the society. Whereas in China, that is not the case. If the government think there's something they wanted to do, immediately they will implement and solve the problem. But we cannot do, because ours is a democratic system. Theirs is a different system. So, but still, in spite of having a limitations with us, well, the government is committed to improve our balance of payment situation, and that's what in the last 4 or 5 years, if we see our imports have come down a little bit, and exports have increased, and in every ministry within the country have taken up this Atmanirbhar Bharat, and they are identifying what to import, what not to. So I'm sure that in the days to come, we can overcome this particular challenge. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Reddy. We will take the last question, that is from Shubham Jain. He said that what will be the role of manufacturing to become India self-reliant? This will be the last question.
Yeah, if you ask me to that, actually, again, I may, to some extent, I answered. Ours is originally a agrarian society. We depend on agriculture for some long time, and we leapfrogged into the service sector, ignoring the manufacturing sector for some time. Let us accept it. See, the general transformation process is from agriculture sector to manufacturing sector to service sector. That is how we have to progress. Unfortunately, we paid attention for a little bit on manufacturing and suddenly jumped into the service sector, because our economy is more of a population country, and we need more employment rather than extending some services. So therefore, we have not paid enough attention to manufacturing. Now, government is recognizing step-by-step process that defense sector. Now, in defense sector, government wanted to manufacture most of the items within the country. Similarly, a few days back, power sector, the Ministry of Power sector has recognized that the power equipment will be manufactured within the country. Now, for manufacturing of cars, already India is becoming a hub to export the cars with the help of foreign investment. So now there is some balanced effort from the central government, and state governments are also taking some positive steps. Surely the manufacturing will become much cheaper in India in the days to come.
Thank you.
Well, if I could add, first thing is once we are talking of our export and import imbalance, that we need to understand Atmanirbhar Bharat is a journey. It is not an event. We cannot expect that tomorrow the table is going to be turned and everything is going to be very rosy. We have to walk on this path to meet the challenges, and as much as we can overcome the challenges, we will be reaching closer to this very aim, this very objective of Atmanirbhar Bharat. So this export import balance and our continuing fiscal deficit is a part of it, which need to be addressed as a strategy over a period of time, because the priority is to make the economy run at a fast pace and create opportunities for all the stakeholders. And for that, government will have to invest. That is where the role of government comes, and government cannot deny. So it has to trade off how much it is ready to work on, and they need to work out and do. Manufacturing, so far as the second question of manufacturing is concerned, we all know that a country like India cannot think of its self-reliance, or even you forget about self-reliance, sustenance, without having adequate portion of manufacturing as a part of its overall GDP. So the industry has to contribute to a level to sustain its large and diverse population, and also to support the large number of MSMEs, which are the backbone of any country, and for that matter in India. So we need to have manufacturing sector prospering, taking off, so that it can create enough employment. It can also create enough opportunity for sustained production and supporting the global supply chain, and at the same time feeding back our MSMEs to have a business which will try to create a sustainable economic ecosystem. So manufacturing is a key. We cannot rate it anywhere or anywhere low. It is as good as any other. Manufacturing is one which can in fact give an immediate impetus if it has to take off. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Mishra. Sir, there is another request from Dr. Sudhanshu Sekhar Singh. He is a professor there in KIT University. He says that what will be the role of composite research in this mission? Composite research.
Yeah, the effort is, that's what actually. No, research, as earlier Professor Jitendra Mishra in his presentation also he mentioned about the research. See, everywhere in every sector we are little bit lethargic and also little bit of lazy, and we are all more self-centered while publishing the research, etc. Because if, academicians, for example, we are happy if we publish on paper, but whether that paper findings will be useful to the society or not, we ignore that particular part. But however, as he said rightly, composite research must be now more contextual, suitable, and the government of India already identified 6 important sectors, priority sectors from the research angle. So it has given specific instructions to UGC, AICTE to do the more focused research in this particular 6 areas, and asked all the universities to come forward to join hands and do the research, so that it may, that is again, the research and its results will come little later, but there is a concerted effort on the part of the government nowadays. Now with this effort, now some better research environment may be created. Similarly, the government in the recent national education policy, it has given enough thrust to research. So this also a very good point to remember, that when the thrust is there on research, innovations and incubations are going to take place both in academic as well as in action in the industry. I am sure with the help of consistent effort, we will do a better research, and of course, between the universities, among the universities, between the 2 countries, that type of research is already initiated and encouraged too. Hope some good things will come soon.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you very much. We cannot take further questions without taking further time of the panelists and the participants. I request our professor in OB and HR area, Dr. Paresh Chandra Mahanti, to give his concluding remarks.
Thank you, Dr. Subrat Mishra. Good afternoon, all the panelists and the participants. I have 2 responsibilities. One is concluding remark and then Thanksgiving. You all know that on 12th May 2020, the economic package of 20 lakh crore, which is 10% of India's GDP, was declared by the Prime Minister, and where he gave the concept of Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan. What is said exactly? When the world is in crisis, we must place a place which is bigger than the crisis itself. We must strive to make 21st century, India's century. And there he gave the idea of this Atmanirbhar Bharat, which all our panelists have discussed. And some have given the initiative and some have given the challenges. I'll come to that. Some questions were there that this in manufacturing industry, what is their role? I'll just give a small input here that the major role will be of the manufacturing sector, that is MSME. And you all know that 6 lakh crore is going to be injected to this sector. And if the flow of credit and cost of credit is okay, then they are going to revive and create a demand in the market, and then the economy will be sustained. Finally, India has the scale. That means we have a demography, which one of our panelists discussed, Ajit sir, and we have to create the demand in this particular situation, because the purchasing power of the people is very low, that within this package, the critics say that out of 20 lakh crore, only 2 lakh crore is for the demand side and all others are in the supply side. So if the demand is created and manufacturing goes, Atmanirbhar Bharat is going to be a success. And as some panelists say, it is not going to happen in hours or days, it will take time. Final thing is, we all know that energy flows where attention goes. If the attention is in Atmanirbhar Bharat and we are putting our energy into it, I am very sure that this Atmanirbhar Bharat concept is going to make India reach ahead of many countries. So here I am proposing the vote of thanks. I am thanking Dr. Narayan Reddy in his speech to introduction to the topic. He has given very good idea. He talked that it is a part of our life, and he said Tattvamasi. And there he gave the idea it is not a new thing, it is a continuous process. Only thing is we have to give the input there. Dr. Ajit Kumar Das, he talked about the 5 pillars, that is economy, infrastructure, system, demography, and demand. Dr. Preeti Ranjan Majhi talked about the vocal for local, and Dr. Jitendra Mishra extensively he has given the ideas about what are the challenges we are going to face. All the panelists have given justice, given a lot of information, and also responded to the questions initiated by the participant. Sir, I thank you all for taking your valuable time and participating in this webinar and making the webinar a great success. And above all, Dr. Subrat Mishra, you have taken a very good initiative in taking a contemporary issue and arranging this big webinar in a very nice way. So all the participants, thanks again for participating and thanking you all. Thank you, sir.
Thank you
Okay.
all panelists and participants. Hopefully we'll meet again in some such type of webinar or maybe seminar or something like this. And I'll try to remain in touch with all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much,
everybody.
Subrata Mishra. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.
Okay then, bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Vikram, are you there?
Yes, yes. Very nice presentation and well organized seminar, and it added value to all of us. The way economy is now passing through, and our honorable Prime Minister has given a vehicle to us like Atmanirbhar Bharat, by which we can lead our all sectors like manufacturing, service, and agriculture to a Prime Minister's ultimate object to achieve 5 trillion economy. I will spare few minutes for all of you that though the economy got a dip around 24% in first quarter, still it is an opportunity for us to get some movement in our economy in next 3 quarters. So 23% dip means it is a quarter dip. It is not like that our economy is 210 million, 200 trillion economy. So in 200 trillion economy is a annual data. So when we are talking about that 24% dip, it is limited to only 1 quarter. Ultimately, now we are in dip of around 7 to 8%. But it gives us opportunity through Atmanirbhar Bharat to lead the economy for next 3 quarters to a different scale, so that we can cross the last year real GDP 200 trillion to 220, 230 trillion. Real, I am talking about real GDP, not nominal GDP. So it is an opportunity for all of us, and certainly it will give, though we are suffering through pandemic a lot, through unemployment, say some people lost their job, and manufacturing sector and your service sector has lost the momentum. But definitely in future we'll get a very bright India and very resourceful India through Atmanirbhar. Thank you.
Thank you, Bikram, Mr. Bikram Das. Let me tell the participants. In fact, Bikram Das is the director in finance of NLC. NLC is a multinational, a public sector organization, and it is he is there posted in Chennai. And he also shared his views on this platform. We are thankful to him for sharing his views. Any other participants who would like to share their views or anything like that?
Thank you, Dr. Subrat. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Dr. Gitanjali Biswal, would you like to say anything on this platform? I think she has left, I believe. Dr. Kirti Prasad Mishra, are you able to hear me? Yes, left. Okay, we are signing off then. Thank you all the participants. Hopefully we'll meet again. We'll meet again in this type of platforms in very short time. We are going to send you the feedback forms very shortly through mail and through the WhatsApp group. And after receiving the feedbacks from all the participants, we will share the the certificates to all the participants through email. Thank you very much. We are signing off now. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.